Okay, so picture this. It's me, 19 and post-breakup, trying to navigate the wild world of dating apps. My ex, let's call him Sean, and I had just broken up. Honestly, it was for the best. The biggest egotistical jerk you could find. Anyway, I was determined to get back out there, meet someone new, someone who appreciated the finer things in life, like traveling with Bae. That's how I found myself scrolling through endless profiles, swiping left more times than I could count. I mean, were there really that many guys posing with tigers? And then I saw him. Henry. His profile picture was nice. He was smiling, holding a cute puppy. Who doesn't love a puppy? And he seemed normal. We started chatting, and surprisingly, he was funny. We talked about our favorite movies, our dream vacations, the usual first date chit-chat. We decided to meet for dinner at this cute seafood place downtown. I was excited. Maybe this was it. Maybe I had finally found someone decent in the vast wasteland of online dating. I put on my favorite dress, the one that always makes me feel confident, and headed out the door, butterflies fluttering in my stomach. Henry was already there when I arrived. Okay, first impression, not bad. He looked like his pictures, which was a relief. He even stood up to greet me, which sadly seemed like a rarity these days. We ordered some wine, and the conversation flowed pretty easily. He told me he was a plumber, which, okay, not the most exciting job in the world, but it is an honest living and a stable income, right? That's when things started to take a turn. Remember how I said he was funny online? Well, in person, his humor was as dry as a desert, and he was definitely pompous. Like, little digs about my outfit, my job, even my laugh. I brushed it off at first, thinking maybe he was just nervous. But as the night went on, it became clear that this was just his personality. Remember how I said he was a plumber? You would have thought he was an accountant. Well, apparently he was an expert in the art of frugality. And when I say frugal, I mean cheap. Like, wouldn't even spring for an appetizer cheap. We're talking ordering the cheapest thing on the menu, and then complaining to the waiter that the portion size was too small, kind of cheap. I was mortified. He spent the entire meal talking about how expensive everything was, how he was being ripped off, and how he could make this meal for a fraction of the price at home. Listen, I appreciate a good deal as much as the next girl, but there's a time and a place, and the middle of a first date is not it. I tried to steer the conversation towards something a little less, cheap, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Section 4. The tip that broke the camel's back. By the time the check came, I was ready to crawl under the table and disappear. I was so over this date, so over Henry, and so over the sound of his voice complaining about the price every though he picked a seafood location. He grabbed the check, accidentally knocking over his water glass in the process. Smooth move, Henry, real smooth. Then it happened. The moment that made my jaw drop to the floor and solidified Henry's place in my worst dates ever Hall of Fame. He pulled out his wallet, counted out the exact amount for the bill, down to the last penny, of course, and then, wait for it, he took the tip that was already on the table. I couldn't believe my eyes. The tip. He was taking the tip that I had left for the waiter, who, by the way, had been nothing but polite and attentive all night, despite Henry's best efforts to be a nightmare customer. Section 5. Never again, Henry. I was speechless. I just sat there watching in stunned silence as he pocketed the money and flashed me a smug little smile, completely oblivious to my utter horror. That's when I knew I had to get out of there, like right now. I think I'm going to go, I said, grabbing my purse. Already? Henry asked, his eyebrows furrowing. But I thought we were going to get dessert. Dessert? Was he serious? After that whole tip debacle, he thought I was going to stick around for another minute, let alone dessert? I'm not feeling very well, I lied, already halfway out of my chair. Thanks for dinner, Henry. And with that, I practically ran out of the restaurant, leaving a very confused and very cheap Henry sitting there with his ill-gotten tip. I could practically hear the violins playing my tragic dating life theme song as I hailed a cab and vowed to stay single forever. Okay, maybe not forever, but at least until I recovered from the trauma that was Henry. Section 6. Lesson learned. Know your worth. So what did I learn from my disastrous date with Henry the cheapskate? A few things, actually. First, trust your gut. If someone seems off online, they're probably even more off in person. Second, never underestimate the power of a good tip. And finally, and most importantly, know your worth. I deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and yes, even a little bit of generosity. Henry might have been cheap with his money, but I realized that night that I would never be cheap with my self-worth. And that, my friends, is a recipe for a much happier dating life, even if it means enduring a few more pineapple on pizza enthusiasts along the way.